So if you will, go ahead and turn to your correct pages while we get our good commissioner to come on up and tell us the good things he's doing that I got to experience earlier this week. Or the end of last week was actually when it was. So whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. I started to say good morning. Good afternoon. I want to start with thanking you for coming to see us. You gave us an inordinate amount of time, made the day of the entire staff, made my day. I thank you and Floor Chair Dickey for being there and spending time with us. It was a great experience for us. So for this budget hearing, the only ad we have is an administrative ad in TeamWorks. So, Madam Chair, and welcome. I'd be glad to answer any questions, but I did submit a small PowerPoint just to talk about a few things that we have done in the last year, and I can go down that path or however you would like for me to proceed. Thank you. So I'll just start on page 3, and I'm going to try to do this pretty quickly, but one of the issues that's been in the news media a little bit is the Real ID Act. The Department of Homeland Security recently announced its enforcement dates, and they appear, this is the first time we've seen these dates ever with regard to TSA. And so the state enforcement, the first level for TSA, starts January of 2018, which is not an individual handing over the driver's license to see if it's compliant. It has to do with the state being compliant, which is where we are today. So really no change for the state of Georgia. We've been compliant in their eyes since 2012. The individual mandate begins in 2020. But we're at 5 million cards issued. We're right on track. Even before the enforcement begins, just about everybody in the state of Georgia should have a compliant card. So I just bring all that up to say we're in great shape. Looking at our field offices, I have 5 little stats there that together I hope tell you that driver services is really in a good position right now. We're meeting customer demand at a great pace. Our overall goal has always been to do 95% of our customers within 30 minutes or less. Last year we were at 94.3 statewide, so I'm very happy. There are some outliers from time to time, and sometimes the outlier may change. It may be one office this month and a different one the next, but all in all, we're doing great. We are seeing extraordinary volume. You'll see in that first bullet, 3 of our busiest days ever occurred in 2015, and 3 of our busiest months ever occurred in 2015. But either way, the good folks out in our field offices and their managers and really the whole agency is coming together to make sure that we get our citizens taken care of. Flipping to the next page, if I may, we did open 2 state-of-the-art facilities in Cobb County, and we broke ground on the new office in Dallas, Georgia, Paulding County. And we've had some other offices, and I'm sure we'll talk about those as well. But just in 3 other areas, my first slide is a cover page. My second slide is just kind of a big picture look at the various operational things that DDS is involved with. So just zoning in on a few of those matters. In 2015, we approved for the first time in a decade, and I'm not sure why no one applied over a decade, or we didn't approve anyone in a decade, but 2 third-party CDL testers. We all know that the state of Georgia is seeing a shortage of CDL drivers, and as far as economic development is concerned, we feel a burden that we need to make sure we're doing our part to make sure that drivers can get tested and can be safe, of course, and then get out on the road. So C.R. England and Werner were approved for that in 2015, and I've been excited about it. Also, our investigative unit went through a very rigorous process for state certification. Somewhere between 17 and 20% of the 700 law enforcement agencies in the state of Georgia have achieved this goal. But it's very intensive. It takes most agencies, as well as us, somewhere between 12 to 18 months, because it's a practices and procedures clarification as much as anything else to make sure you're following the best practices. And just to give you an example, they have best practices, and if you don't have a policy that fits that, you have to create one. And if you can't show them that you have actually had a situation where you followed that policy, you have to work with them to figure out that you're entitled to an exception. So it's by no means is it some easy thing to achieve. So I'm very proud of that, and I hope our public will be happy to know that we do meet professional standards. And then in another area is our call center, where we stay very busy, like the field offices. That is a first touch, especially for people who are coming here from out of state, new to Georgia. We just launched a chat feature. We take about 175 calls by chat. And one of the great things for the folks who use it is that we can usually respond to that initial chat. I don't know what the right word is. When the chat starts, we can respond within about 30 seconds versus a phone call that can take us 20 minutes. So we're growing that. It's a pilot now, but we're super proud of it. I'll keep moving, if I may, to the Atlanta office that you visited. I have a series of photos here. The first one on page 5 is just the front of the new building. This is a pre-existing structure. I want to thank you all for the support of the bond package that included the purchase of this building last year. And then in the bottom right corner, you can see a photo of the 5 double-wide trailers pieced together many years ago. My understanding is that was intended to be temporary when it was started. So if you go to page 6, you see this is the inside of the trailers. The info desk I pointed out because I want to really show you the difference between that style of business flow, business operation versus what we have today. But if you look at these pictures, you just see, in my mind, an antiquated operation. But if you go on to page 7, today when people come to the Atlanta office, the new Cobb offices, and any office that we open from this point forward, customers aren't going to come to first seeing an information desk, which historically has created a bottleneck for us. The top left picture shows our customers going to a computer where they can fill out the application, pre-populates to the mainframe directly without paper. If they're missing a Social Security number or an address document, they can use these computers, go to the internet, get what they need. And then from there, in the middle on the bottom, you see this gentleman is standing at a kiosk, which allows someone to enter the queue, the lobby management process, on their own without necessarily having an employee there. We keep someone there, kind of like the Delta model, where you have an employee there to help someone who needs it. But generally speaking, within 2 touches, a customer can put themselves in line into the queue. And then to the right is a gentleman taking the written exam, and I just wanted you to see that because he's doing that now on a touch screen. So this office is one where we're really using a lot of technology to move the customers through. And another big improvement in addition to the technology is we had 13 workstations in the trailers. We have 18 now. So with all of that to say, to give you an example of the impact, the average wait time was 30 minutes or more in the trailers, and it's now down to 5 minutes. Historically, we were serving customers in the trailers because they were so boxed in, and you can see some of the way the walls are built and everything else in the trailers. But historically, we were serving about 58% of our customers within 30 minutes. But ever since we opened the new office, we've been serving 100% within 30 minutes. So the increase of space, the increase of technology has really made a difference, and we're getting the job done there. Third busiest office in the state for us. And then I also, because there was funding in the bond package for Paulding County, the Dallas ESC, I included a few pictures just to show you the progress there. We hope to open this office in late spring or early summer of this year. Paulding County is the 14th largest county in the state. All 13 that are larger have one of our offices in the county. Paulding doesn't, so this will bring us up to speed there. And really, those are the points I wanted to make. I think we'll end up touching on some of our other facilities in future hearings. I wasn't sure if these were going to make the cut or not, so I wanted to share these thoughts with you today. Madam Chair, that's what I wanted to bring to your attention, but I'm more than happy to answer any question you may have.
We have a question. Senator Mullis.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk about the Secure ID.
Yes,
I know
sir.
we've all been through a lot of problems with that, originally because people didn't understand the importance of it. And since, like my neighboring state of Tennessee, wasn't even attempting to do it, but now we see there's a major push for a conclusion of that, or you can't get on the airline if you don't have it. So I want to thank you for the work your department has done to push that out early, because we're way ahead of the game.
Yes, sir. We're in a great position, and frankly, I thank the governor's office and you all for your support, and the Department of Homeland Security has helped us. I won't forget March of 2013 because that was a very painful time for me when we had some very
For all
long
of
wait
us.
times. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, the entities of the state of Georgia came together and really helped us and gave us an opportunity to be successful. And then our frontline folks in the field offices stepped up, and we've gotten there. I mean,
You were able to modify some things to help us through some tough times.
Yes, sir.
Find some gray area, for a matter of fact, to make things move a little quicker. For example, elderly people that had no birth certificate or lost it in the courthouse fire. And I know it sounds strange, but actually things like that have happened.
Yes, sir. And I did omit the DDS board, and I should not have. The DDS board helped us as well by looking at various rules where y'all give us some latitude to bring that down to a more granular level. And I did have an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. and meet with an undersecretary for Department of Homeland Security to lay out some of the issues along with my equivalent for the state of Virginia. And I believe it all paid off. I'll point out also that the program manager for the Real ID Act does happen to be from the state of Georgia, and he's a pretty good guy, and I've enjoyed working with him as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner.
And you may want to mention that about when I brought my documents in, that it's with that little star on your driver's license.
Yes, ma'am.
That's forevermore, correct?
It is. That is one of the. Once someone goes through, if it is painful, once someone goes through it one time, they don't have to do it again, and remember to bring their birth certificate or whatever documents they need once they come back. After they have it the first time.
A star on it forevermore? That's kind of like a heart on it. I love you forever or something like that.
And I will say to the members of my committee, my subcommittee who couldn't go with us last week, that you missed a real treat. That trailer that he spoke of, we rode by it as we were going to the new facility, and the new facility is unbelievable. And actually, while we were standing there, and he claims he didn't pay her to do it, but a lady who was a customer who was in line asked to see the commissioner who happened to be there that day. Again, he claims he didn't pay her to do it, but she came over and explained to him in our presence what an awesome experience it was for her, that she had never been through an experience like that, and how great it was. So I commend you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of the new facility. I hope that we can get all 66 of them up to that level in the near future.
Me too.
Yeah.
And one thing I also want to add, first of all, I do want to clarify, I know I'm not necessarily under oath, but I did not pay that lady. But I do want to say also that the work, if we can have, if anyone would like to come in and see it, the office is beautiful inside. It's not just about the technology and the business process, but that was done by inmate labor, and I ran into Commissioner Bryson and told him just a few minutes ago at lunch, and told him they did a phenomenal job, and those folks they did great.
Yeah, I'd love to see more of that happen around the state. I renewed my driver's license while I was there. It was going to be due in March, and so I had the opportunity to do that, and it was just a great experience. So I really commend you for all you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
All right. We do have another question or comment. Chairman Smith.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I missed it last week. I was trying to get to that. So,
Yes, ma'am.
and I remember when you were explaining to us the needs for all of that. You also at one point commented on the difficulty that you have at times hiring the employees who can clear a certain clearance level to be able to work with this classified information. And is that any easier? Where are you in the queue for having the kind of employees you need?
Well, I do think it's getting better. Our turnover is. Let me start with this. You all were very kind and generous to approving the budget, a $1.5 million increase for us last year that went straight to raising that baseline pay. So we've been looking at those stats in particular this past week, and I think we need a little bit more time for that base pay increase to let us evaluate it and see the impact. Without the true numbers that I feel confident in right now that I can share with you, I do think there's a small trend down, but we've also been faced with the economy has gotten stronger, so we're losing a lot of people, and our part-time staff is where we see the strongest turnover. But also, I mean, in my history with driver services, which is very close to 9 years, the top side of the field staff, even the district manager position, we used to always have somewhere between 1 and 3 of district manager positions open, and we hadn't had a district manager leave or asked to leave in the last year. So I think have a long way to go, but we are definitely stabilizing, and we're getting in the right direction.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
Madam Chair.
All right. Well, it looks like you did a fantastic job. So thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
And my subcommittee is now adjourning, and we're going to ask the next group to come on over. Is that you?